What's up, everybody? It's Gomlet X, and Momir's Madness is back, this time in support of the Extra Life charity. It's here in sort of a promotion to promote all of the work that Wizards of the Coast is doing with the Extra Life charity. They're doing a live stream and everything if you want to go check that out. But I am excited to get back into the gameplay. There's a slight variation this time. Everyone starts at 21 life because it is in support of Extra Life. Everybody gets 1 extra life, which is cute. But let's just hop right into it. I have no idea what this format is going to shape out to be like, but the one thing I'm very excited about is that no matter what, it's not going to end up like the last format, for sure. There are a lot of new cards, and I'm not even sure if they left Kaladesh and Amonkhet and all that in or not. We'll have to see when we get into it. I am completely new to this fresh new format, but the only thing that is 100% for certain is that Guilds of Ravnica is in. It says that it is using every card on Magic Arena, so I would assume they still have the Kaladesh and Amonkhet cards on there, just programmed in, but I don't know if they will be showing up in Momir's Madness, or if they're just going to keep it to standard. We'll have to see. So I'm going to start with 2 drops, and I think I'm just going to play a card every turn after that. I really don't know how this is going to shape up. I think 8 drops will probably be the strongest. 9 drops is not a guaranteed Zakama anymore. There is Zakama, but there's also like just a 7/5 hexproof and some other stuff, whereas 8, I believe, is still mostly powerful stuff like Verdant Force and Razaketh and all that. So I'm just going to try to get to 8 mana for this first game, and we'll see how it goes. So no cards from Kaladesh or Amonkhet yet, so I believe that they might have just taken all that out, just rotated out like they did with Standard. And this game is not going particularly well. They got a 2/2 followed with a 3/3 on turn 2 and 3. I'm not gonna block. That would just be a chump block. I can leave this to chump block a larger creature later, like a Verdant Force or something massive. And I guess Razaketh isn't in here anymore if Amonkhet and all that isn't in here, so 8 drops actually might be a little different, but I still think they're probably pretty strong. So they got a 1/1 flyer, lets them draw a card so they can get to higher mana costs, so that's pretty sweet. I could save my mana here to be able to block their 2/2 and kill it, but now that the 3/3's tapped, it's probably not going to untap for quite a while, so they just have a 1/1 flyer and a 2/2. I have to assume most 3 drops will be able to block this 2/2 well, so let's hope for that. And I got a 2/2 flying lifelink. That is very good. So now they can't attack me with their flyer. If they attack in with the 2/2, I'm not going to block with this guy, because I can start sending it in and gaining some life. This would have been a really good 2-drop for them to get, because then they could keep on tapping their 3/3, and that would be terrifying. So I'm not going to block. I can just gain back the life with the Sky Marcher. They've got a good start on Wooburg over there. They got a Twilight Prophet. That is pretty good. That's a 2/4 flying, so I can't attack in with my flyer. And they get to basically draw a card every turn once they reach Ascension, once they reach 10 permanents. I got a Treasure, so that's cute. I can go straight to a 6-drop next turn. No attacks are good here. Seems like a pretty bad board state for me, but things can always change around in Momir. So they have assembled 5 color. They've assembled Wooburg. And their 5-drop is a Sarah Angel. Damn. My opponent's getting some great cards. I'm not going to block that. Come on, something good at 6, please. So I get to play 2 6-drops in a row, which is hopefully something sweet. Discard a swamp. I already have 2. Probably don't need a million swamps. It is a 3/7 vigilance, so it doesn't have flying. So I'm about to take 6 in the air next turn. I can't attack with anybody. Their 4/4 is larger than anything I have. This is not looking like a successful first game of the new Momir format. Hopefully they fixed Dairy Gaz, because that is another thing. Another flyer! Damn! Opponent is on point. I might just have to block at this point. If I don't block, I take 6. I go to 4 life, then I can chump block the 6/6 that I would gain up. I'd be at 6 again, but then I'd take 7 from their other flyers. Oh my god. I'm just gonna no block it, and hope I get a large flyer this turn. Because next turn I can block their 6/6 instead of their 4/4. That's technically saving more damage. Put another planes out, I guess. Oops, oops, oops. No, we want 6. Alright, let's discard another swamp. And it's not a flyer, so that ends my first game of this Momir format. Opponent went 4 mana cost. Actually, no, they went 3 mana flyer, 4 mana flyer, 5 mana flyer, 6 mana flyer. Yeah, that's almost always just gonna be unbeatable in Momir. And they're even triggering their Azor to be like, still had all these. They're even just gonna draw a shit ton of cards, just for the rubsies. Rub it all in. Alright, I go to exactly 0, because they didn't attack with the Sky Marcher. Alright, well, that was an introduction to the new Momir format. Let's hop into another game here, see if we can't get at least 1 win before my 2 losses in this tournament. So, I'm just trying to think. Without the incentive to reach 9 mana, it might just be best to actually just shove out 1-drops and be aggressive in this. I'm not super certain, but I will think about it and try it out a couple times. So we got a 2/2 Vigilance on turn 2. That's pretty good. Opponent is just saving up the mana. Let's grab a 3-drop. Discard this planes. A 4/2 on turn 3. Nice. That is some pressure. They're going to have to make something this turn. Probably something. Almost anything they could get for 3 will trade with the Ogre, and they're still not. Ooh. My opponent is very bold. They are just going to take 6 to the face here. Let's discard a island? Probably? Sack a creature, put a counter on it, and it gains Menace. That's pretty sweet. So if we get to a point where they have like a 2/1 first strike or something like that, anything that blocks these really well, I can just sack into it, and then just hit them with Menace instead. So anytime either of these creatures becomes irrelevant, or any of our later creatures are irrelevant, buff that guy up. That is a very good 4-drop. So the whole you can't cast non-creature spells thing doesn't matter. That's just straight up a 4-mana 6/6 hexproof. Wow. That seems pretty sweet. So I think now would be the time to give Menace and get in there still. Or I could just play a 5-drop. The thing is, they're going to be playing more creatures after this turn. So, I want to get in damage while I definitely can. So, I'm going to sack this 2/2. It'll get Menace till end of turn. Now I can get a guaranteed 4 damage in there. And I'll go ahead and play a 4-drop. Discard this swamp. Well, at least it let me draw a card. But that is a 0/4 that does not do anything. Normally, of course, it would be pretty good in an Izzet deck. It gets bigger for your instants and sorceries, but our decks are all lands. Opponent got a 3/2 flying hexproof. That's pretty sweet. So I could sacrifice both of these and make this a 6/6. That way, if they do the double block, they have to just trade off with their Nullhide Ferox. I don't know. That might be the play. Because these guys aren't particularly useful against their board right now. Of course, if I just sacrifice the Drake, then they have to double block still because it's got Menace. So I could just kill their flyer. I'm just going to play 6-drop. It might have been correct to just sack those dudes and stay aggressive. Azoni, you are very bad in Momir. So that's a 2/3. I can pay 2 mana, sack creature, gain a life, and draw a card. I guess that secondary effect is fine. I can sacrifice some useless creatures later. My opponent's entire field has hexproof. That's pretty exciting. Not really sure why they've held on to so many cards. They might be trying to get to, I don't know, Impervious Great Worm or something really expensive. With the amount of cards they have right now, they can make it to 7, 8, 9, 10. They can make it to 10 drops. I don't know what's at 10 drops. Well, that was a good attack for me, because that just tapped their creature. So we're at 7 drops. I could give Undercity Necrolisk Menace to kill their Evra, or hit him for 5. I think I do want to force a trade here, so I'll make a 6-drop. And if it's something worse than one of my creatures somehow, then I'll sacrifice it instead. That's pretty good. Flying 5/5 with Mentor. Okay. Let's sacrifice this 4/2. Well, next turn I could Mentor onto the Necrolisk, but I can only do that if it only has 4 power still, so let's sack... Yeah, we'll sack the Ogre. And send in here. I guess I should have just sacrificed the Drake, but I was still thinking about blocking their 3/2 with the Drake. Alright, so I'm going to kill Evra. Yeah, I was still thinking about blocking the 3/2 with my Drake, but then I realized my flyer's a 5/5, so I could just block the 3/2 with that instead. I did not need to save the Drake here. I think I would be in a better position with a 4/2 instead of an 0/4 flyer here. But it wouldn't be a significantly better position because their 6/6 ground guy is kind of just stonewalling my team. He is the barricade. So they got a Belligerent Brontodon here, which makes all their creatures deal damage equal to their toughness instead of their power. Which doesn't change much. It does make their 3/2 flyer a 2/2, which is good for me. I'm just going to take all that damage to the face. We can make an 8-drop now, so let's see what kind of exciting stuff we got. Actually, wait a second. I am not an idiot. I made the right choice, because Mentor, so I can keep making this Drake bigger. See, I was smart all along, even when I didn't realize it. I made the right sacrifice. Because now this Drake's going to become a threat of its own thanks to the Mentor from the Light of the Legion. Verdant Force is a pretty sick 8-drop. It's going to keep that 6/6 at bay. I am very safe now. I can also start sacrificing Saprolings to Azoni's ability to gain life and draw cards. So I really like my position now. I am probably not going to save mana to sacrifice Saprolings that often unless they start getting some kind of creatures with burn or unblockability and I start going to terrifyingly low lives. But I don't think that'll happen. I think I'll probably just keep jamming out 8-drops instead. Just making a bunch of massive 8-mana creatures. Let's get an 8-drop. See what is in the game. There's another Zatalpa. That's pretty sweet. I think these flyers are just gonna get there. Especially thanks to Verdant Force keeping me safe on the ground. Opponent has 9 mana. So we'll see if they hit Zakama. Nope, they hit a Molder Hulk. That's not bad. It's a 6/6 and it gets a land back, so now they have even more mana. Alright, opponent concedes. So we got at least one win in. We got at least one win in here before I get dropped out of this tournament from sucking too hard. Alright, let's move on to game 3. So yeah, I do think so far with this format, it does seem like 8-drops are very strong. I guess there is still an argument for saving up to 9 mana to try to get Zakama, because I think that there are 3 9-drops. One of them is Zakama, but the other 2 are Molder Hulk, which is a 6/6 that will put a land into play, and Arboretum Elemental, which is a 7/5 hexproof. So you could still try to get Zakamas, but it's not guaranteed anymore. It's a 1/3 chance, 33% chance. But I think probably most of the 8-drops are just strong enough that the average power level of an 8-drop will be higher than the average power level of a 9-drop, because I think the average 8-drop is a little bit better than a 6/6 that gets you a land or a 7/5 with hexproof. But we'll see. I'll learn more as I play more, as I get comments and criticisms and all that as well. Here's a Swab Goblin. I believe this comes from a intro deck or a Planeswalker deck or something. It is not in the regular Rivals of Ixalan set. So it's always cool to get these cards that you don't see that often. Like when I got my 0/4 little crab with a pirate skull on him, that was super cool. It was my favorite arena only card now. So opponent has a very good start. They're starting off with a 2/2 First Strike Vigilance and Lifelink. My start is decent as well. I have a 2/2 flyer, but the damage it does is not going to matter in the long run thanks to their lifelink, as long as or it's not going to matter until I get something with 3 toughness to start blocking Danitha, keeping her from hitting me. Well, they got a 2/3 flyer, so that stops my flyer entirely, so that is rough. Since that does stop my flyer, I could double block and kill Danitha here, but then they would kill my flyer, whereas most 4-drops should have 3 toughness and 2 power at the least. So I think Danitha's probably not going to do anything after this turn, so we will just spin the wheel on a 4-drop and hope it blocks Danitha well. And it does. It is exactly that. It is a 2/3. Well, I'm gonna give my flyer Menace, but I'm not gonna attack. I will just put them down to 20 and then get myself hit down to 18 if I do that. Don't think there's very much value in that. Opponent is on their 5-drop. They have a 3/3. They can look at the top 5 cards of their library, reveal a green card, and put it into their hand. Okay, so that's a 5-mana 3/3, so that was pretty lucky for me. They got a pretty poor 5-drop. To be fair, my 4-drop isn't that great. It's a 4-mana 2/3 that didn't do anything. It could have, but I did not want to tap down my flyer. There's a Charging Tuscadon, not bad, a 4/4 trample, and when it damages players, it does twice as much. I don't really think it's going to change this board stall. They're probably going to get something larger than it this turn. If they don't, I guess I'll attack in with it and get something off the board. Problem now is that their Spirewinder is going to have Ascension, which will let it be a 3/4. Now it's got Vigilance this turn as well, thanks to that Vigor Spore Worm. So they get to hit me for 3 and still save the blocker for my flyer. So I'm taking a little bit of damage here. I might still be able to value out my opponent with the higher drops though, because they only have 1 card in hand, so they make it to 7 mana. So they get to spam out 7 drops. Or they'll have to skip a turn to make it to 8, whereas I will just naturally make it to 8 drops here. I mean, I don't think it really matters what lands at this point, so I'm going to drop a Swamp. I'm going to go 6-drop. Get rid of an island. Something good. That's a 6/6 trample. Well, it keeps their 6/4 from attacking, but so does my 4/4. If I send in with the 4/4... They could just trade it for my 6/4, or they could block with their 3/4 and their 3/3, in which case I would kill their flyer. Is this guy really preventing anything from attacking me that Dreadmaw isn't? No, I will send him in. Because the thing is, if they don't block, I'm doing 8 to them, which will help a decent chunk. Alright, so we are trading 6/4 for 4/4. That's actually a super fair trade because of his ability. His ability makes him about as valuable as a 6/4. Maybe even a little more, but just trying to clear their board down a little bit. There's a Lotleth Giant. That is a 6/5. So it does seem like they are just going to start spamming 7s, while I will be spamming 8s in a little bit. So hopefully that little bit of mana advantage, that little bit of power advantage will eke out the win here, or irk out the win. I don't know words. Alright, so now it's time for our 7-drop. Palaka Worm, that's very nice. We get to gain some life, and it is larger than a 6/5. Send in the Dreadmaw, then they just block with their 6/5. But I think that's fine. I'm trying to keep the board small so that any larger creatures I get later have a larger impact. So yeah, now since their 6/5 is gone, this Palaka Worm will... they'll have to block with everything that they currently have out to kill Palaka Worm. But whatever they play this turn might be big enough to take out the worm itself. We will have to see. That is a Windreader Sphinx. That is a very sweet pull for them. So now they get to spam 8-drops as well, even though they didn't put in the work for it. They get to spam 8-drops just because they got cards that say draw a card. So things are now looking kind of bad. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have 8 power on their field. Okay, so I will be attacking with Palaka Worm next turn, because in order to kill it, they'll have to block with their 3/7 Sphinx. Talpa is pretty sweet. That blocks both of their dudes very well. So hopefully that'll just make it so no more flyers attack for the rest of the game. But the problem is they've already made it to 8 mana, so they don't really need any more cards. Alright, they are taking 7 to the face there. Yep, so this game, in classic Momir fashion, is probably going to be just entirely determined by our 8-drop RNG, who gets the better ones. And they got a Slid Voda, which is an 8-8 that does nothing. So far I'm winning off that RNG. Are they actually thinking about attacking just to draw a card here? Maybe they're trying to get 2 9-drops. Nine drops seem pretty risk-reward here, but the reward is high. Zakama is still insane. Maybe they just don't know this has double strike? I don't know. I guess they don't know it has double strike. Well, that was good for me. We'll drop an 8-drop. Now we can get in with Zakama as well. Looks like we got a Slin Voda as well. That stops our Palaka Worm from attacking. But our own Slin Voda can attack into their Slin Voda next turn. Ooh, they're going down to 6? Alright. I was about to say to 2, but that's just because I got confused with the way Arena says damage. Like, he went in there for the double strike, and then it just immediately put them at 6 after the first hit, so I was like, whoa, am I putting them to 2 life? No. That is not how it works. They got a Gishath. 7/6 Vigilance Trample Haste. I do not believe that that can attack into Zatalpa very well. Thankfully, Zatalpa is just amazing. Super good card. It also just doesn't attack into this stupid 8/8 very well either. The ground is pretty muddied up right now. It's going to be hard to make any progress on that front. Oops, no, we want 8. There we go. A 9/9. Well, I guess we're just mucking up the ground a little bit more. They have to block with their Spirewinder now to survive. Okay, I was about to say, I don't think that... Wait, no, it does. It has Trample. So it does. Oh, shit, I didn't even know it had Trample. Never mind. For a second, I thought Arena messed up. Nope, my mind messed up. So Zatalpa's even better than I thought. Oh, is that another Gishath? That's rough. That's pretty rough. That is another thing about 8-drops. After you have a decent chunk of them out, after you've done it like 3 or 4 times, it's probably worth it to start doing other drops still. So maybe that would be when you want to start going into 9 and trying to do Zakama, just because a lot of 8-drops are legendary. So if you're in one of those weird situations where you've managed to get a Gishath and a Slin Voda and a Zakama out, but you're still not winning the game, then maybe it's not worth it to do 8-drops anymore, because there is a decent chance that you'll have to start just basically skipping your Momir drops, because you'll have to just sacrifice them the second they come out. However, I do think that my opponent's play was right. They needed something crazy. They needed to get an 8-drop. They needed to get their own Zatalpa, probably. It's probably their best shot. Unless they got really lucky and went for like a 4-drop and got a hostage taker. You know, something like that. So we're going to start on 2 here. We got a Seeker's Squire, which explores, which means I believe we'll make it to 8 mana. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Awesome. I don't even have to skip anything else. I did skip 1-drops, but that's not too much of a downside. So they have a 2/1 first strike, so that kind of makes my 1/2 pretty useless right now. But 1/2s are almost always going to be useless. This will probably just trade to save me some life later. Like, I'll just jump block into like a 9/9 or something. I did get a 3/3 with Trample, which blocks their 2/1 very well. It also attacks into it well. So unless they get something larger, 3/3 Trample is a pretty good draw. They got a 2/3. So if I attack in with my 3/3, I'm trading my 3/3 for a 2/1 first strike or a 2/3. So I don't think I want to do that yet. Let's drop this island out. And we'll discard a forest. Leonin War Leader. Well, that is sweet. I'm actually going to send in my 3/3 now. No blocks. Alright. So I sent in my 3/3 there because even though the trades wouldn't be particularly good, even though I'd just be trading for a 2/1 or a 2/3, it would clear out more things so that it's more likely for my Leonin War Leader to get in without dying. Now they could block with their 2/3 and their 2/1 to kill it. I get to kill their 2/3 and 2/1, and I get some cats. Yep, that's the only block they can make that will kill it, so I do get to 2-for-1 them with the War Leader, so I will be attacking with it. But let's see what we have at 5 first. Could be a Charging Monstrosaur or something with haste. It is a 4/4 that gets counters when it's dealt damage. I will send in the 3/3 as well. We'll stay aggressive because they're probably going to want to send what they can at the 4/4 to kill it. So this 3/3 probably gets in, and it does. We're going to kill those two. They get to keep their 1/3. But I did just trade multiple creatures, and now my field is a decent bit larger than theirs. So they got a 3/4, and that's all that it is. Opponent has gotten very unlucky this game. I would not be particularly happy to be in their shoes. I'm not gonna lie. They've gotten a lot of subpar draws. I can't attack with the 3/3 at this point because then they just block with the 3/4. So we'll just send in the 4/4. That's surprising. They could have double blocked. They'd trade off the 3/4. I guess they do want it to hold off the rest of my team. But yeah, if they blocked with the 3/4 and the 1/3, they would just kill my 4/4 for their 3/4. And now they have a 5/5 Vigilance that does 1 to all my creatures when it attacks. So that's actually really good for my Sailback. My Sailback likes that a lot. So I was thinking about just throwing away this cat since it was going to die next turn anyway, just to gain a life. But if they attack with it, they're putting a counter on my Sailback. So I'm going to attack with Dreadmaw, and I think what happens here, because they probably thought the same way, they're probably going to block with the 5/5 and the 1/3, and I'll just kill the 5/5. But it is keeping their larger creatures off the field and letting me keep an advantage here. And now I get to swing in with my 7/7. They only have 2 blockers. They'll have a 3rd blocker here. It is a ground creature. Ooh. Oh, it's a May ability, so they can choose not to do it so that my 4/4 is still a 4/4. Ooh, they do it. Okay. They kill my 1/1. But my 4/4 is now a 5/5. I'm happy with that. So I think this turn, I send in the 5/5 and the flyer, and see what I get on 8 mana. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. In all likelihood, my opponent is very dead next turn. But we'll have to see. Man, Momir really makes you realize how many legendary creatures Wizards has been printing lately. Us Commander players have really been spoiled. Because I'm literally just making random drops, and I'm still ending up with several legendary creatures every game. Oh, we got a booster pack of Guilds of Ravnica. Cool. As always in my videos, I'll just open the booster during the video for anyone who's interested in that, because I don't particularly care. But if you want to see what kind of crazy stuff happens, we got a Connive Concoct. Alright, cool. Let's hop right back into it. Alright. My first round loss has made this a pretty stressful event, because as soon as I lose any other game, I'm out of it. But we are 3 wins in, 3 out of 5. I could still win 2 more times and get the full reward out of this. That would be pretty neat. So we're on the play again. I'm just gonna pass. Opponent also starts with a mountain. I'm just going to spam out mountains. Mountains do seem like the best still. There's always some stuff with fire breathing. Discard a swamp, because I have 2 of them. And we get the 2/2 vigilance again. Not a bad start. Unless our opponent gets a 2/1 first strike or something. In all likelihood, it'll just trade off with whatever they get. Ooh, shit. They got a mana ramp creature. That is very bad. The second either player gets a mana ramp creature, that player immediately just has a better chance at winning. Because they just get to start playing larger cards before they're supposed to, and that matters a lot in Momir. Because the power levels kind of just ramp up exponentially as you get into higher mana costs. So they get to immediately go into a 4 mana card here. I did get a Mentor of the Meek, but I don't think it's worth playing cheaper cards in an attempt to draw cards here. Still need to make some decently sized stuff. We'll discard a Forest. We got a 5/3 that has to attack each turn if able. That's fine. It trades off with their Vine Mare at the least. They get a 5-drop now. It's a 4/4 Vigilance. That's pretty good. Let's see what our 5-drop is. 3/4 Flying. Okay. Okay. I was gonna be pretty happy if they didn't block there, because then that gives me a little bit of a shot to try to get in there with this flyer. Six mana card for our opponent is a 4/6. That doesn't do anything. But it is still a 4/6, which is pretty large for this board. They're attacking with the Vine Mare. I'm getting rid of my 2/2s. I do not care about them. They do not do anything against a 4/6. So we will get rid of that Vine Mare happily. Play a 6-drop now. Discard a Swamp. Keep another color here. We got a Victus Asmati. Whenever it attacks, for each player, choose a permanent that player controls. Those players sacrifice those permanents and then reveal the top card of their library and put it onto the battlefield if it is a permanent card. Most important part of that is that it's flying, but also if they get anything good, I can make them sacrifice it and turn it into a land instead. Wow. And it makes them sacrifice it. It's permanents. Any target permanent. And their Chaos Mod just got rid of their... Oh my god, am I gonna win this game? I was so scared. I was so scared, and this is going really well now. Get a 7-drop here. That's a 5/5. Okay. I'm going to turn this mountain into maybe an island, and we will get rid of their 6/6. They do get to ramp up on mana, but they need something really good here. They have to kill one of our flyers, because if they don't, I can just kill whatever they get with reach or flying on the attack. They did get a flyer, but I can just make them sacrifice it because this card is sick. Alright. Well, wow, that game turned around. I mean, it wasn't ever that bad for me. I just get, I don't know. I get into the mindset of like, oh shit, they got a really good start. This is going to be very bad. But it all turned out well for me. I got luckier than them. I will admit it. I seem to get really lucky in Momir. I don't know why. But it's ridiculous. Alright, here we are with the final round, win or lose. If I win, that'll be a 5-1. And if I lose, it'll be a 4-2, which is not that bad. I am happy either way, especially after that start. Especially after the Game 1 loss. I think the comeback is pretty sweet. We got a Swarm Guildmage, definitely not a bad 2-drop. The 5-mana ability could win us the game later. It probably won't, but it could. The little 2-mana ability, not nearly as important, but it still exists if for any reason we don't want to do anything with our mana. This 3-drop is incredible. It is a 2/2 that can't be blocked. Anything with any form of evasion is very good in Momir, and if it is the ultimate form of evasion, just being unable to be blocked at all, then it's going to be awesome in Momir. So I'm very happy with this start. Opponent gets a 1/3 flyer that whenever it attacks, it gives another creature flying. That is a very good start for them as well. That's basically 2 evasive creatures in 1. They can make whatever their biggest threat is have flying as well. It's pretty scary. We got a 4-mana 2/2, which is awkward, but it makes up for getting this guy. It's 2/2 unblockable here. So yeah, Rhizome Lurcher, definitely a interesting and fun card in Guilds of Ravnica Limited, but in Momir, it's a 4-mana 2/2, so not what you want to get at all. Their 4-drop is a 0/8 Trample, another Guilds of Ravnica card that is really not what you want. It's a 0/8 with basically no abilities, because no one's casting instants or sorceries here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something good, please. Not really. That makes it so I can actually attack in with my team, though. So I can get 2 more damage in here. Because they're not going to want to trade off their... Ooh, okay. I guess they are. I guess the Guildmage's abilities are mildly threatening, especially because I could take a turn off to use the ability instead of playing a card. That way I can make it to 8 mana. They got a 2/4 flying at the beginning of their end step. If they gain life this turn, they get a 1/1 bat. That's pretty good. That is pretty good indeed. So we'll play a 6-drop now, though. We are on the aggressive. We got this 2/2 unblockable guy. Looks like we are gaining the 4 life. I can send in the 5/5, but they just block with the 0/8, so that doesn't change anything. Our main hope here is just that they don't get any targeted removal or life gain. Those are the 2 things that would win them the game here. I think without it, it's going to be very hard to win, even if they get some decently sized creatures like their 2/4 flyer and their 6/6 they just got. They are on a 6-turn clock, so they have a lot of turns to start getting some threatening stuff, but hopefully my drops are at least only a little bit weaker than theirs. Just so I can hold off whatever they're doing and get in there with the unblockable guy. This 7-drop is quite good, stops their 2/4 from really getting in there at all, and I can start drawing cards so I can play an 8-drop next turn. So I get to keep up with whatever high mana costs they're doing. They get a 7/7 with no abilities here. Yep, 7/7, no abilities. They have no maximum hand size if that ever happens. That is technically usable in Momir. That is the only ability that actually does something in Momir. They can also discard 3 cards to kill it, but I don't think they're going to do that. This position seems really good for me. I now have 8 mana. I can swing in with these 2. And I can play an 8-drop main phase 2. And we got a Gishath. It does have haste, so it is awkward we couldn't play it in main phase 1, but I don't know if we'd attack with it anyway. I guess we do have a critical mass of creatures we might have attacked with it. So if I attack with Gishath, they can just block with their 0/8s, and then if I attack with the 5/5 as well, they just block with the 6/6, kill my 5/5. I attack with the 3/4. Yeah, the attacks would have been awful. So it does not matter that I couldn't play Gishath in main phase 1, because their ground blockers were just good enough to eat my whole field anyway. And now they're definitely good enough. Now they can eat Gishath as well instead of just blocking with the 0/8. Let's get another 8-drop and just hope it's not a Gishath. As long as it's not Gishath, I'm happy. It could be any other 8-drop. It's a 4/5 flyer, so yeah, that's fine. We will send it with that. We don't need to draw a card here. If I attack with anything else, they just block. However, next turn I can swing in with the 4/5 flyer and the 3/7 flyer as well, because they do not have enough flyers to block all of them, so I will get some damage in and maybe kill their flyer. Actually, next turn if they don't get a flyer, attacking with my 2/2, my 4/5 flyer, and my 3/7 flyer is lethal, because the most they can stop is the 4/5 flyer. Alright, so they know that it's lethal, so they are just going in for the alpha swing. And they're scooping. Alright, wow. So there goes my first extra life Momir's Madness. This is the new Momir's Madness format with Guilds of Ravnica cards, and it seems like no cards from Kaladesh or Amonkhet. So definitely a very good start. Got a bunch of gold and a mythic. A Star of Extinction. Very cool. Well, thank you all for watching, and I will definitely be back for more Momir's Madness very soon. See ya.